All right, guys, back to the engagement interview. It's been really fun reading your comments. Thanks again for watching. Let's get back into it, see if there's anything new here or what repeats, and we'll keep it quick.
For both of us, so it was really refreshing because given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him, as opposed to having
Notice that
grown
little
up.
shrug? I know through him. That's like a confirmation gesture, basically saying this is not true. Do you believe it? Like, right? Like, why would you say that if something was true? Why would you do that? It's a little tell.
Around different news stories or tabloids or whatever else, anything I learned about him and his family was what he would share with me, and vice versa. So for both of us,
so
it was
I don't know if you noticed she did it with her other shoulder, just more slightly, that little shrug, and she started moving her hand around a great deal more than she normally does, which looks a little bit weird. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Hopefully I get my words going. And then again, she's looking at him, and someone pointed out in the comment that massive jaw clench. It's like, what is that? That is a little bit scary. So she's doing, once again, that confirmation, looking at him to say, come on, this is the story, right? And again, he looks like he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, huh? And then she's got this big jaw clench this time. So this must be high stakes to her.
Really authentic and organic way to get to know each other.
And was that quite refreshing for you in the way that you've been brought up, you know, with a lot of people knowing a lot about you? Was it refreshing?
Or thinking they know.
Thinking they know.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it was hugely refreshing to be able to get to know someone who isn't necessarily within your circle, doesn't know much about me, I don't know much about her. So to be able to start almost afresh, right from the beginning, and getting to know each other step by step. And then taking that huge leap of only 2 dates, and then going effectively on holiday together in the middle of nowhere, and you know, showing a tent together and all that kind of stuff. It was.
Oh, come on now, Harry. So again, we could see why she ended up with him. There's all the videos of her from being a little kid saying she's a princess, from looking at the royals, being outside the palace, wanting that, and he was the perfect target for her to become a princess. Really naive, not really on the ball very much. And also, that's a big mistake. 2 dates, and then we spent a trip together. That is generally not a good idea, especially if you are a famous person with lots of status like Harry, because when you go on a trip with someone, it's really easy to feel a huge connection with them. I remember there was this study that's pretty interesting. There's like the idea like fondness, what was it? When you can't see someone, it makes you get fonder. Someone remind me of what that quote is. But long story short, that was not correct. When people are apart over time, their feelings tend to fade. If you put 2 people in a tent together in a new experience, and they're probably being physically intimate like all the time, it's going to be really easy to feel a sense of connection, to feel weird when the person leaves, and to be brainwashed, to be just alone with that one person in that vulnerable state and be affected by them greatly. So that is jumping into things quite quickly, especially when you are someone who should have had reason to fear people wanting to get your emotions, wanting to get you to fall in love with them so they could gain in ways that didn't necessarily just include having a great relationship with you.
No, it was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing to get to know her as quickly as I did.
Silly.
And starting a long-distance relationship, you were working on Suits. You had, I imagine,
look at what is that?
Schedule. You've got lots of commitments of your own. How hard was it to keep things going?
It was, yeah.
It was just a choice, right? I think that very early on, when we realized we were going to commit to each other, that we knew we had to invest the time and the energy and whatever it took to make that happen.
What I also notice is the we's are all dictated by her. Like, she controls the entire conversation, and the we's. We looks at him. We looks at him. So she's there to speak for them, and he's there to fill in occasionally, like, bumbling kind of platitudes, like romantic, like, oh, I had to step up my game, and then like, oh, I got to know her. So she's really in control, and he's just kind of like filling this very minor role in this conversation. Again, we're seeing so many red flags. I'm glad I'm watching this now because, again, we saw how this stuff over time changed. It started with her having total control and then ended with her being able to change him, change his personality, or build on certain aspects of his personality, like the resentment.
So yes, with the filming schedule, it was
super fake.
Not the easiest, because it of course included a lot of travel back and forth.
Super fake laugh.
I don't think you've had any idea what time zone you've been on for the last year and a half.
No.
Coming over here 4 days or a week and then going back and then straight into film.
She probably did. She's very aware. One thing I'll give her is she's savvy, probably a sociopath, definitely a narcissist, but she's savvy. Like, she is very aware of what's going on. Again, that shows his lack of, like, he's projecting kind of his mentality. Like, oh, what time zone is it? Like, oh, is this girl, gold digging? Like, just, he wasn't very aware at this time. And she's like, oh, of course I didn't know the time zone, which again, it fed into the narrative she wants to create. Like, oh, it's just this whirlwind romance. Here I was, this successful Shakespearean actor on Suits, and I got swept off my feet, and all I cared about was that he's nice. That's the only thing I care about, is a man being nice. So again, she hops into her thing there.
The next day, 4 a.m. wake-up calls on a Monday,
yes.
Straight into set, and
right off the plane and straight to set,
yeah,
and just coming
I'm just
back
trying
and
to
doing it
trying
again.
to stay
Look,
as
she's
close
stressed.
as possible, but
This is actually kind of funny. Is she? Who knows what she was doing at 4 a.m. Like, I don't know how incredible the schedule of Suits was. I don't know if you saw that, like, her looking at him, and she's a little stressed because he's talking and he might say something that doesn't perhaps create the narrative that she wants. Again, she's a lot more savvy. She's a very bad actress, which is lucky for us because we can often see what she's thinking and feeling, but she at least is very savvy with her planning. She probably knows how she wants to come off, and she probably is aware what he says might not create the story she wants. So she's entirely trying to control a narrative. He has no idea, and he's just talking, which, to be fair, that's actually how an interview should be. I'm criticizing the fact that he seems so unaware and he was so easy to manipulate, but at least he's being totally genuine. And again, look at his face, like, vacant. So again, I do think you got a generally good-natured guy who was unaware, and she just brought out these really negative aspects of his personality. And my last word on that is, people really can change massively. I mean, if you look throughout history, you could have propaganda completely change entire countries full of people. So if you have one person in a very intimate situation, they could change very, very drastically, because even if they had roots in their personality of something, if something that was 5 or 10% becomes 70%, you have a person who's behaving entirely differently. It happens in cults all the time.